Welcome to a Legendarium special about the Battle of Poitiers, the Black Prince's great victory. The Battle of Poitiers, the second great battle of the 100 Years' War, took place on September 19th, 1356, and cemented the reputation of Edward the Black Prince as one of the great medieval commanders. The 100 Years' War started in 1337, when King Edward III of England claimed the French throne as nephew of King Charles IV of France, as his mother, Isabella of France, was sister to King Charles. The French court refused Edward's claim, in large part because they did not wish to be ruled by a foreigner. So King Edward III decided to make his point more forcefully and launched an invasion of France. This first round of fighting climaxed with a crushing English victory at the Battle of Crécy in 1347. However, King Edward III could not follow up on this victory because of the devastating Black Death, which so ravaged both England and France that the war all but stopped for most of a decade. The two sides met in peace negotiations at Guines in 1353 and almost ended the war through a partition of France. When the conflict resumed, King Edward III hoped for a second Crécy to force the French to make peace on his terms. On the other hand, King Jean II of France hoped to drive the English from his kingdom for good. In 1356, King Edward III planned to have the Duke of Lancaster invade from the north, while his son Edward the Black Prince, then only 26 years old, torched French villages in the southwest, around the English holdings in Gascony. In time, the two armies would link up for a march on Paris. This harsh strategy sought to seize wealth from France for England, while showing the French that King Jean could not protect them, and that the only way to save their lives and property would be to support King Edward's bid for the throne. In his invasion of southwest France, the Black Prince seized high-born captives for ransom, took livestock and crops, and in doing so deprived King Jean of badly needed tax revenue. King Jean, hoping to end the war by making the Black Prince a prisoner, headed south with 35,000 men against the Black Prince and his 7,000 men. While King Jean brought a large contingent of mounted armored knights and expected them to carry the day, the English and Welsh brought a large force of longbowmen. The longbow was 6 feet long, made of ash and oak, and could pierce plate armor. A skilled archer could fire 1 arrow every 4 seconds. Among the fighting men on both sides, armor ranged from iron plate worn by the wealthy to padded leather and stiffened cloth worn by the poor. The Black Prince hoped to join up with the Duke of Lancaster in the north, but King Jean blocked his path. The two sides met on September 18th, 1356. Cardinal Talleyrand de Perigord tried to negotiate a peace acceptable to both sides, but ultimately failed. Indeed, both commanders used the time to prepare for battle. Edward the Black Prince dug trenches and formed barricades with his supply wagons, while King Jean summoned more troops. Some French commanders called for Jean to surround the English and starve them out, but King Jean insisted on attacking. The English took a strong position on a small hill protected in the rear by a forest and the front by hedges and marshes. King Jean had to narrow his lines and attack uphill in a way that negated his numerical advantage. Even worse, he divided command among several of his great lords, and since they failed to coordinate their attack, the French effort was doomed. 300 German knights served as the vanguard of the French assault, which began at 8 a.m. in the morning. King John ignored the advice of his Scottish advisor William Douglas to charge on foot and had his mounted knights gallop uphill. The attack was a disaster. English, Welsh, and Gascon longbowmen rained arrows upon the French horses, and the unhorsed French knights tried to struggle through the hedges. Sensing his opportunity, the Black Prince ordered his archers to drop their bows and charge. The French suffered staggering casualties, with the aristocratic knights taking the worst of it. Only 4 hours later, the battle ended, and the English soon took to looting dead French knights and pillaging the lavish royal camp. France lost 1,000 infantry, 2,000 knights, 13 counts, and 5 viscounts. Most importantly, King John himself was taken captive along with his 14-year-old son and heir. In a chivalric display, the Black Prince invited him to dine in his tent, and after settling in England for a comfortable captivity, King John ordered his nobles to collect a royal ransom of 4 million gold pieces from his already overtaxed subjects, and the French peasants, who already despised the nobles for abandoning King John at Poitiers, rose up in rebellion. France went ever further into the abyss. That wraps things up for this episode of The Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and have a great rest of the day.